welcome to another video to teach you about the wonderful world of Latin. Today's video will teach you about third declension nouns. This is the third group of nouns that you will learn. So, as you remembered, there are 5 of these groups of nouns. These groups are called declensions. And all nouns, regardless of which declension they are in, have the same 3 qualities: gender, masculine, feminine, or neuter; number, singular or plural; and case, nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, ablative, and vocative. You also remember that for our nouns, the dictionary will tell us what the gender of each noun is, and the ending of your noun tells you the number and case. So you already know first and second declension nouns, so let's expand that knowledge to include your third declension nouns. You also remember that dictionary entries for all of your nouns have your nominative singular form, then your genitive singular form, and the gender. The first declension nouns you know are the first declension because the genitive singular form ends in an AE, and these could be feminine usually, or there are a few masculine first declension nouns. Then there is the second declension, which has a genitive singular ending in an I, and these are masculine or neuter nouns. For third declension nouns, the genitive singular will end in an IS, and these could be feminine, masculine, or neuter nouns. That you also see that there's a great variety of nominative singular forms for our third declension. So this is why you really need to look at your genitive singular form to know what the declension of a noun is. And sometimes the nominative singular form will give you a hint about the gender of a third declension noun. So the TAS in Kiwitas or the TUS in Virtus indicate that the noun's going to be feminine. These are usually abstract nouns. The OR in amor, amoris is usually for masculine nouns, and the EN or US in Carmen or corpus tends to be a neuter nominative singular third declension ending. Of course, there are nouns that don't quite fit this pattern, so virgo, virginus, or mos moris don't quite fit. So make sure you memorize the gender when you memorize the dictionary entry of your vocab words. And sometimes these patterns help you, sometimes they don't, so you cannot always rely on them. So let's talk about our endings. As you know, third declension nouns have masculine, feminine, and neuter genders. The masculine and feminine nouns have one set of endings. Here they are. And the neuter nouns have another set of endings. We'll talk about both in this video, and the neuter nouns will be a little bit later. So remember that the nominative singular forms for masculine and feminine nouns are really all over the place. So there's nothing consistent for your nominative singular. Your genitive singular ending will be an IS. Your dative singular will be an I. Accusative, EM, and ablative, E. The vocative is always the same as your nominative singular, and this is why we really stopped talking about the vocative case in most textbooks and discussions of third declension nouns, fourth declension nouns, and fifth declension nouns. The nominative plural is ES. The genitive plural is UM. The dative is IBUS. Accusative plural is ES. The ablative plural is IBUS, and the vocative plural is the exact same as your nominative plural. So you'll notice that there's a few things that are sort of consistent here. The nominative and accusative plural have the same ending, so you have to use context to help figure out which case is being used for that noun. Just like all your other declensions, the genitive plural ends in a UM and the accusative singular ends in an M. That same for fourth and fifth declension as well. Then the dative and ablative plural have the same endings, here IBUS. So again, you have to use context to figure out which case is actually being used for that noun. So let's apply these to a noun. And let's use the example canis canis. It can be masculine or feminine. It means dog. So since this noun can be either, it is a good example of a masculine or feminine noun to work with its endings. So third declension nouns are declined the same way as all your other nouns. You take your base and your case and number endings. You get your base in the same place as you do with your other declensions from your genitive singular form. So let's look through how we decline canis canis. Well, you have your two free forms that canis is your nominative singular and canis is your genitive singular, so we can just move those right down. Then let's get our base. Our base, we just remove our genitive singular ending, is, so it's going to be con. So we can write that for all our forms. And then we add on our case and number endings as appropriate. So our dative will be cani, accusative canem, ablative cane. Your vocative singular will be the exact same as your nominative singular, so canis. The nominative plural will be canes. The genitive plural will be canum. Dative, canibus. Accusative plural, canes. Ablative plural, canibus. And the vocative plural, canes. Once you have all of these down, resume the video to practice on your own. And now let's practice with a similar word, cat, felis, felis. So this noun can only be feminine, but it's also a good way to practice your third declension masculine and feminine noun endings. So pause the video, fill out our chart, and then resume it when you're ready to check your work. You're right if you said our nominative is felis, genitive felis, dative feli, accusative felem, ablative fele, vocative felis, nominative plural feles, genitive plural felum, dative plural felibus, accusative plural feles, ablative plural felibus, and vocative plural feles. So now let's look at our neuter nouns. So our neuter nouns have very much the same endings as our masculine and feminine nouns in the third declension. You'll notice that there's just a few differences. The nominative singular is anything, since those are all over the place for all of your third declension nouns. Genitive singular is is. Dative is an I, just like for masculine and feminine nouns. And now our accusative is the same as our nominative singular, and so is our vocative singular. And that's because of our neuter rule, where the nominative, accusative, and vocative forms will always be the same. Then your ablative singular is an E. When we look at the plural, you'll remember again that our neuter rule makes our nominative, accusative, and vocative the same. Just like with second declension neuter nouns, the accusative plural, nominative plural, and vocative plural is an A. So, A for nominative plural, genitive plural will be dative plural ibus, accusative plural A, ablative plural ibus, and vocative plural A. So let's see this in practice with our noun tempus temporis, meaning time, occasion, or opportunity. Just like all our nouns, we take our nominative singular tempus and temporibus from our genitive singular part of our dictionary entry. And then remember there's the neuter rule. So tempus will also be our accusative singular and vocative singular. Notice that the base does not continue, so it won't be temporus or temporem in the accusative. It's exactly the same as your nominative singular. So tempus. For our other cases, we do need to get our base. So our base for tempus temporis is tempor, because that is everything before your genitive singular ending is. So let's write tempor for all our other cases and numbers. And then we add on our endings. So tempus, temporis, tempori, tempus, tempore, tempus, tempora, our nominative plural a ending for neuter plurals. Temporum, notice the um is from our genitive plural ending and the or is from our base. So it looks like it's a second declension noun, but it really isn't. Dative plural, temporibus. Accusative plural, tempora, just like our nominative plural. Ablative plural, temporibus, just like our dative plural. And then our vocative, tempora. You can pause the video, make sure you have all of these written down, and then resume the video when you're ready to practice with another third declension neuter noun. Okay, so the noun you get to practice with is carmen carmenis, meaning song or poem, since ancient poems were often played with music. So pause the video, decline this noun, and then resume when you're ready to check your work. All right, you are right if you said Carmen, Carmenis, Carmeni, and then Carmen. Remember our neuter rule, so Carmen and Carmen will be our nominative and accusative and vocative. Ablative Carmene, vocative Carmen. And then again, remembering our neuter rule for Carmina, Carminum, Carminibus, Carmina, Carminibus, and Carmina. Remember to make sure your base has that I in there, so Carmen, because that's what's in our genitive singular form. We don't use what's in our nominative singular form. Okay, now let's practice moving from our chart to how we might actually see these words in a sentence. And a good way to practice that is to parse third declension nouns. So here are 5 nouns for you to practice parsing. Since I know you don't know all of our vocab words yet, here are the genders for our nouns. Notice that uxor, even though it ends in that or in the nominative singular, which is usual for masculine words, is feminine. And that's because uxor means wife. So wives are women, so the gender is feminine. Okay, once you've parsed all of your nouns, resume the video and see how you did. Okay, you're right if you said that virtutem is accusative singular, uxor is nominative singular, mos is nominative singular, corpora is nominative accusative or vocative plural because it's neuter, and nominibus is dative or ablative plural. Now it's time to check your understanding. So here are 4 questions for you to work on. Pause the video, do your work, and call me over to check your work for you, and then I'll give you your next task. Thank you for watching this video and learning about our third declension nouns.